Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the 50-cent late pick four at Saratoga on Friday with the Yaddo Handicap. Fillies and mares going a mile and a 16th on the inner turf. Let's take a look at this big field of New York breds. We've got 11 in the body of the race. Main track only. Number 12 is Wasp. And Marvelous Maud is your morning line favorite at 3-1. She's been favored in her last 5 races and 6 of 8 lifetime. And she's going to be stepping up in class, but she's in very good form for Chad Brown.
Yeah, she is in good form. She's still relatively lightly raced, too. Feels like she's just getting better with every start for Chad. I suspect she's going to be pretty tough in here. But this race, came up rock solid once again. It usually does. There's some new blood in here. Feels like it's a pretty interesting race.
The pace should be fair to fast in this year's Yaddo. Taking a look at the time form U.S. pace projector, the number 1 Ice Princess does have solid early speed. Pure Bodie is quick, and Make Mischief has shown speed on the main track and is bred for turf. So while I think Pure Bodie can make the lead, it could be somewhat contested.
Yeah, I do think this pace is going to be pretty solid in here. I, personally just feel like Make Mischief is going to be looking for the lead in here. And if she handles the turf at all, she's probably going to make it.
Well, the number 1 Ice Princess is winless on turf from 3 starts. She is a stakes winner on dirt going a mile, and she's run well in her turf races. Now, we're going to take a look at her most recent start, a little bit of a lead-up for trainer Danny Gargan, and no real excuses other than the distance. I think a mile and 3/8 was just a little bit far for her. She set a very reasonable pace under Ricardo Santana and got tired at the end.
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of a different take on this horse. I don't think the distance was necessarily too far for her here. It's probably just better horses, Dan. The problem I have with Ice Princess is I know she's run well in her 3 turf starts. I don't think she's nearly as good on turf as she is on dirt. And if not anything, Dan, that mile and 3/8 helped her last time, because when you watch her, especially in her turf races, she has one gear. There's never any acceleration from her. She wants to get a good position and just stay at that one pace around the track, cutting back to a mile and a 16th. I don't think that's going to help her.
We'll see if Santana tries for the lead with this horse this time around, or tries for a pocket position, pace tracking, ground saving along the inside. The 2 is War Canoe, and you got to root for a mare like War Canoe. She's 9 years old. She's won 10 times. And why not get claimed for 25 by Michelle Nevin last time out? She's by Lemon Drop Kid. She's going to be worth something as a brood mare. She's been running in the Yaddo since 2018, it seems, or every other year. War Canoe last time out was 6th in that claiming race. It's hard to make a case on War Canoe's recent form, but she has races on the go back.
Oh, yeah, she has the back class to be really tough in a race like this. It doesn't seem like she's that horse anymore. It's very interesting to me that Nevin claimed her probably to run her in this race, and here she is. We'll see if she can re-find her form, because as you've already mentioned, that she has some back races that would make her really tough in here.
The number 3 is Dancing with Daffodils, who was 7th in this race last year at almost 20-1. Will now go sprint to route and is eligible to show a little bit more pace. Last time out, kind of sat off a slow pace, finished evenly, has to do better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the race that you could really point to suggest that she's going to beat this kind of a field. I kind of prefer her as a closing sprinter. She is good enough to get this kind of a distance with the right trip. I just felt like this race was too tough for her.
I think trainer Christophe Clement has a sleeper in here with the 4 Mischievous Dream, and also has one with the 9 Classic Colors. Mischievous Dream, she's run well around 2 turns in the past. She won the sorority as a 2-year-old. She's been sprinting recently. A win 2 starts back, but last time out, no pace whatsoever. She got wired that day. The race has come back live. The runner-up came back to win with a 90 buyer and a second-level allowance.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. I like her form heading into this race. She really ran better than it looks last time with no chance to win. I do think the distance could be something of a question for her, but earlier in her career, she was fine routing on the grass. And I think she could just fall into a trip here, Dan. She's going to be a price, and I'm going to use her.
Been a big fan of the 5 Runaway Rumor, but she's now gone over a year without a victory. Getting a little class relief after running 4th against Princess Grace in the Penny Memorial at Parks. Princess Grace would come back to run 2nd in the Beverly D with a 97 buyer speed figure. This one's kind of lost me, though, Mike, as she's racked up loss after loss, but she sure fits with these horses.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I really liked her as a 3-year-old. Don't like her quite as much so far as a 4-year-old. We'll see if They can get her turned around. I thought she ran, maybe took a step in the right direction last time. Dan just missed third in that race. It never looked like she was going to win, but that was a pretty tough spot overall. I thought she ran okay, and I guess it's at least worth pointing out that earlier this year when she was pretty bad in those 2 races at Belmont, Jorge Abreu was not winning races at that time. His barn's really heated up since then.
The 6s make mischief, trying turf for the first time for trainer Mark Cassidy. She's got the pedigree. She's buying to mischief. She's a half to 4 turf winners, and she's back in with New York breds after taking on Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare sprint winner CC and the Grade 2 Princess Rooney.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if she handles turf, she's supposed to be tough in here. She's not the kind of horse that I necessarily want to be betting on. Especially if she takes money in here, which it seems like she could. I don't want her, at some kind of short price based off of her dirt form. But her dirt form is good, and she is bred for turf.
Marvelous Maud, the 7, never off the board from 8 lifetime starts, including this victory earlier in the Saratoga meet, going in on the 16th on the inner turf. I thought all in all, pretty good trip. I know the pace wasn't very fast, but she was able to save ground into the first turn on the backstretch, uncorked a wide bit on the second turn, and then wore down the leaders late. Solid performance for Marvelous Maud. You mentioned this horse's upside. She's still lightly raced.
Yeah, she just feels like she's getting better with every start. Also in this race, that's finest work down on the rail, getting through late there to get up for second. She ran okay in that race too. I don't really have tremendous knocks on Marvelous Maud, Dan. I do think she's headed in the right direction. She could easily win here. We'll see what kind of price she is. I wouldn't want her at too short a price.
Pure Bodie, the 8, has won at Saratoga the last 2 years, including this performance on July the 20th. Going a mile on the inner, was able to get to the lead in here. Got a nice rating trip under Jose Lezcano, spurted clear at just the right time, and had plenty left to hold off the closers. She's in very good form for Jimmy Ryerson. The question is, can she get this kind of pace? This trip, it appears there are other pace horses in here.
Yeah, that worries me a little bit too. I mean, she's not the kind of horse who absolutely has to be loose on the lead in order to deliver. She's won without the lead before, and it does, she's really run well at Saratoga each of the last 2 years. So maybe that's something that you want to sort of hang your hat on, because outside of that, she's pretty hard to make a case for.
There are lots of things to like about the 9 classic colors for Clement. This filly showed some ability last year. She returned off a lengthy layoff to win her second-level New York bred condition at Belmont. And then last time out, they tried her at 1 3/8, and she made a run into it. And I think that distance was a little bit too far for her. It was a decent enough field of first-level open allowance horses. The runner-up would come back to run second again with a 78 buyer.
Yeah, I'm looking at her that way, Dan. I just think that 1 3/8 is too far for her, and she didn't want any part of it. I love her cutting back for this. She was really good off the layoff, two back. That pace was slow. She just sat last, waited until the stretch, and once Jose wheeled her out, she just ran over that field with a pretty impressive late burst. She's going to need some kind of a trip because she wants to sit and make one run, but if she gets a clean trip in this race, she's going to be there at the end.
Another Clement train runner making her 3rd start of the year is the 10 Classic Lady. Joel Rosario retains the mount. This horse ran well in the Mount Vernon in her 1st start of the year. Might have been a little too tough last time out in the Dr. Penny, a race that didn't feature a fast pace. I just wish she ran a little bit better.
Yeah, I didn't like her last performance either. All in all, she got herself into a good early position and just didn't fire at all through the stretch. She was better 2 starts back, took a pretty tough beat there. But it's not like she had some kind of huge excuse that day. She just got nailed on the wire. She's another one. She's been around forever. She's got plenty of races that would make her really tough in here if she delivers it, and she's got tactical speed.
She has hit the board in this race the last 2 years. Finest work is the 11. This horse has run very well for George Weaver. 2 wins to kick off her campaign, and then that second to Marvelous Maud. We saw her finish up on the inside in there. She was in behind horses for a brief instant, was able to get down to the rail, just couldn't finish with Marvelous Maud. But like Marvelous Maud, she has some upside. This isn't a great post position.
Yeah, that's the thing I liked least about her, is just she's drawn way on the outside here. It's going to have to work out some kind of a trip. But all in all, I just like her recent form. I think she's getting better with every start. And she is, a pretty versatile horse. She's won from up close. She's won from off of it. There are things to like about this horse, especially if she just gets totally overlooked because she drew poorly.
Wasp has entered main track only and would obviously be a contender if this race was washed off of the turf. Top pick time for the Yaddo. It's a pretty competitive race. I understand exactly what you see about classic colors. I think this cutback in distance works, and she makes her 3rd start of the form cycle for Christophe Clement.
Yeah, and I just think she's going to be a price in here too, Dan. That's what I liked about her more than anything else. Again, she's going to need to work out some kind of a trip. I think if she gets one, she can go with these horses at the price that I expect her to be. She's the horse I want in this race.
I went on Marvelous Maud, the 7. Don't love the price she's going to be. She's the morning line favorite. It seems like she gets bet every single time. I certainly am going to use your horse classic colors, the 9 as well. 9, 7, 4, 11 for Mike. 7, 11, 9, 5 for me. It's the Yaddo for fillies and mares at the Spa on Friday. Good luck.